Hey everyone, welcome to this tutorial on traveling clothes by Tommy Emmanuel. First, the usual stuff. The full lesson is split up into several parts and only the first part will be released on YouTube. For full access, you can check out my website or my Patreon page. Both offer different perks at different pricing points, so there should be something for everyone. If you want the tab and notation file, then do head over to the website, look up the song and click on the music notes icon. That way you'll get a 20% discount. No account or login is necessary to do this. So today we will be taking traveling clothes apart. Tommy wrote this song specifically to be a show opener, and the brisk tempo and the uplifting melody are certainly a good indicator of what you can expect when attending one of Tommy's concerts. Most of the song is pretty straightforward and it still sounds great if you just play it a little bit slower. But, and you probably knew that word was coming, not everything is as easy as Tommy makes it sound. In this song, he seems to actively be trying to dislocate your fretting hand thumb. There are a few absolutely insane chord voicings in here, including one of the hardest chords I've ever seen him play. The good news is that there are alternative ways of playing those chords, and you can play this whole song without using the fretting hand thumb a single time. In the verse, I think I managed to limit the effects of this change to a minimum. You only have to change one single note in that section to be able to play it without the thumb. But the first chord of the chorus is something else. Tommy uses a funky double stop picking pattern combined with one of those insane chords. And if you want to get rid of the thumb there, you are going to have to change it around slightly. In the tutorial, I spent over 10 minutes going over several alternatives for just that one single chord. And I really hope there is something in there that makes it possible for you to play this song. To make the difference between the original and the alternative as clear as possible, I will play through the voicings with the thumb in verse 1 and bridge 1, and then do a complete take without using the thumb at all for verse 2 and bridge 2. That should give you a good idea how those different options are going to sound. Okay, so let's dive straight in, shall we? The guitar is in standard tuning, capo on the 3rd fret. That is going to make certain chord shapes a little bit easier than when you're practicing it without the capo. So make sure this is always on the guitar. Apart from that, I'm using a thumb pick as Tommy is doing, which helps especially with the percussive part in the bridge. But apart from that, and maybe even with that bridge part, you can play it without the thumb pick as well. It's just going to sound a little bit less percussive. So let's have a look at what the intro sounds like. And here we go. This is what you're up against. And straight into the verse, which just blows by really quickly. That first section, those first 8 bars, according to Tommy, is him trying to simulate a fiddle intro. So that is what is happening with those 4th intervals on top. The chord shapes or the fingerings aren't that difficult. You start with an open G string, which is going to run all through those first 8 bars, and then the ring finger and the pinky on the 3rd fret on the B string and high E string. He plugs those two together, then a separate G string, and then he drops down to the 1st fret, again on the B string and high E string. Tommy is pushing down with one finger, just like that, but again, he's not really playing a bar, but just fretting those 2 strings by pushing down with one finger. I'm just using a standard bar, a small bar across 2 strings. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what happens. Apart from that first opening chord, you are going to alternate between the open G string and the double stop on top. So first beat everything together, then G string to the 1st fret, back to the G string, back to the 3rd fret, G string, back to the 1st fret. Always alternating, never the thumb pick and the index finger, middle finger at the same time. The rhythm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So the second time you head over to the first fret, it's pulled forward by 1/8 note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Back to the third fret. That third fret again is on the fourth beat, and then it's 2 open G strings and back to the first fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, back to the double stop on the third fret, open G string, and now we're going to move up, index finger on the fifth fret on the high E string and the middle finger on the sixth fret on the B string. If you count this up, if you leave out the bar, this is going to look on the side of the neck as the 8th fret and the 9th fret. So, and you're going to bend that up slightly sharp, like a little blues curl. Now, one of those blues curl bends is done right at the end of the note. So it's not picking and bending up straight away. You keep the pitch intact or unchanged, and all the way at the end of the note, you're going to bend up really slightly. Now, this is one implication. You are playing an open G string right after that. And by bending up the note, you are going to mute that G string. See? So if I do it slowly, you're going to have a little bit of buzzing. That's what happens. You touch the G string with the middle finger. Don't worry about that. Tommy does the exact same thing. So that one open G string right after that double stop on the 5th fret and the 6th fret is going to sound very short. Straight back to another open G string, and you're going to land with another double stop on the first beat of the next 4 bars. This also helps to time out that bend. You pick the double stop, you pick the open G string, and only after picking the open G string, you're initiating that bend up. That's what happens. Pick, G string, bend up. And by bending up, you are going to mute the G string. It sounds fine as soon as you pick up the speed. And that's already the next 4 bars. So bending up, G string, and mute. That's what happens. Let me play those first 4 bars all the way through one more time. Straight to a double stop on the 3rd fret, and it's basically a full repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Up to that point, all is exactly the same. Then Tommy holds on to those 2 fingers on top, the ring finger and the pinky, and he reaches with the thumb over the side of the neck for the 1st fret and strums that down together with the D string and the G string sounding open. Make sure the A string is muted with the thumb. And then he drops down the middle finger on the 3rd fret for a full G chord. That thumb over the side of the neck on the 1st fret might be difficult. If it is, then just leave it out and use the index finger. It is sitting on top here. It's not doing anything. So with the thumb, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The chord on the F on the thumb over the side of the neck is in between the 2nd and the 3rd beat. The G chord lands on the 4th beat. Exactly the same thing now with the index finger instead of the thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is where the G chord lands. That was the whole fiddle intro. Before I dive into the next 4 bars, which is a section that will repeat itself in the actual song quite a bit, first those 8 bars all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth beat, G chord. Right after that, we move into the next section of the intro. Everything is moving around the standard G chord, middle finger, 3rd fret, low E string, index finger, 2nd fret on the A string, and still those 2 fingers on top, and then moving to a standard E minor chord, just 2nd fret with the index finger and the middle finger in this case. We're moving to a boom chick bass part. You have that chord from the 4th beat that rings out across into the next bar, and you're not playing anything on the 1st beat. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So the 1st beat is empty. It's not really empty. It's the chord that rings out from that hit or that strum on the 4th beat. And then you play D string, open, E string, 3rd fret, and then you arpeggiate G string to the D string to an open B string. So you let go of the ring finger before you move to the E minor chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. To the E minor chord, bass note by itself, and then you pick the D string with the thumb pick, and you pick at the same time the G string and B string open with the index finger and middle finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same arpeggio as on the G chord, E string, G string, D string, B string. That's all that happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Back to the G chord. You pluck the low E string, D string, G string, and B string at the same time. And then to the A string, but you remove the index finger and you hammer on to the 2nd fret in strict 8th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So A string, hammering on to the 2nd fret with the index finger, thumb pick to the D string, and then you pick an open B string and you transition back into the E minor chord. Just that 3rd bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Same switch, open E string, chord, E string, G string to the D string, and that's where we leave it at. We're not playing that open B string anymore. We're going to need that finger for the next bar. So those last 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then we move back into another G chord. Those 4 bars all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and back to the G chord. That's the full intro. One more time with the magnet on the guitar to show you what the picking hand is doing, and then we can already dive into the verse. Let's go. So that was part 1. I really hope you are enjoying this tune. As always, take all the time you need to get things down before moving to the next part. For people watching on YouTube, now is the time to switch over to my website or my Patreon page. I'll see you there.